So a pleasant morning to everyone. Sorry for disturbing you at this early morning. So we are the group 4 and we are here to report about the book formats, literary elements, and book awards. So before we start our main discussion, can I ask, is everyone here? Can some kindly type 1 if you are here in the meet? Thank you, Princess, Tyson, Rendon, Jerel. Okay, thank you. So I know some of us are still sleepy and still on your bed or having their coffee time and breakfast. So anyway, to somehow wake up your minds, we prepared an activity for you guys to start your day with productivity. So I'm hoping for everyone's participation in this game, which we called Guess the Word, 4 picks, 1 word. So I know most of us here in the meet are familiar to this game. So for you to able still to know the mechanics of this game, so there are 7 sets of 4 pictures that will be presented on the screen, and all you have to do is to guess what the word they present is. So second mechanics of this game is, if you want or you know the answer, you have to type hooray in the chat box, and wait for me to say 1, 2, 3 go to send your to send or to type the magic word. So next, this game is for chat basis. So the first one to chat the magic word, which is hooray, will have the chance to answer and get a point. But if that person cannot able to guess the word, I will be calling another one to answer and have the chance to get a point. So does the mechanics are clear to everyone? Kindly type 8 if yes. If you have, you can raise your hand if you have some clarifications about the mechanics. So I think everyone is ready. Let's start our activity. So the first set pictures so for you to able to have the chance to answer, all you have to do is type hooray. So 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, we have a winner chart. We have the first chat, which is Miss Kaizen. Kindly unmute your mic. Thank you.
Hello, my answer is children. Do you hear me?
Yes. Okay, let's see if children is the correct word for these 4 pictures. Yes, that's right. Children is the right word for these pictures. So next, let's proceed to the next one. Wait. I will go. Okay. So for the next round, kindly chat hooray if you know the answer. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. I think Miss Parilla is the reporter, so I won't consider it. So Miss Kaizen already answered. So let me call Miss Ivy. kindly unmute your microphone.
Book. Book po.
Again, I can't hear you. I can't hear your answer. Books. Okay. Let's see if books is the right word for this pictures. Okay, that's correct. Thank you, Miss Ivy Lopez. So next, let's proceed to the next set of pictures. Okay, kindly type hooray if you know the answer in 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Miss Flores, kindly unmute your microphone.
My answer is young adult.
Let's see if young adult is the right word for this. That's correct. Young adult is the right representation of these pictures. Next, oh, I forgot to put. Okay, next. Let's move on to the next set of pictures. In 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So for this round, Miss Aliyah has the chance to answer these pictures. Kindly unmute your microphone, please.
Hello po, good morning. Is it award?
Award. Okay, let us see if award is the right word for these pictures. Yay! Yes, that's correct. Okay. Thank you, Miss Catalan. Next. Okay, for this round, kindly type hooray if you know the answer in 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see, who's the first one? Okay, Miss Rindon has the chance to answer this round. Kindly unmute your microphone.
I think the answer is formats.
Formats. Formats with S.
I mean format. I'm sorry, without S. Thank you.
Okay, let's see if format is the right answer. Yeah, you got it right, Miss Rendon. So next. Okay, for the last set of pictures, kindly type hooray if you know the answer in 3, 2, 1, go. Miss Catalan already answered. Okay. Miss Gerald Ann, kindly unmute your microphone to answer this.
Is it element?
Element.
Elements. Sorry.
Element.
Elements.
Element to this. Okay. Let's see if your answer is correct. Okay, you got it right also. So I think, oh yes, I think that's the end of our activity. Thank you for your participation, and for those who answered, rest assured that you got a point. So now, let's proceed to the main discussion of our group, which is about the child and adolescent book formats, literary elements, and book awards. So allow me to present to you the discussants for today, which are Foner Jessamay Parilla Janet and yours truly, Ramos Jana Mariana A. Ramos. So for the learning objectives, at the end of this lesson, students should be able to distinguish various book formats of children and young adult books, also explain the different literary elements, and lastly, discover different awards for children and young adults. Okay, so for the first topic is all about children and young adult book formats that will be discussed by me. I am Jana Mariela Ramos, and I am assigned to discuss this topic. So for the introduction, first of all, children and young adults books can be part of the fiction or non-fiction genres. However, those books are categorized by the target age of readers and also the other details such as the number of words or the subject matter in the books. So now, I hope everyone is listening intently as we dive into the various formats of children and young adult books. So first on the list, we have the board books. So board books target readers is typically age 0 to 2 years old. So board books made of thick cardboard, the books are durable to withstand the demands of many readings, chewings, and slobberings. So the board books are designed for children to play with as well as to read. That's why the cover and the inside pages of board books are made from strong and durable materials. Therefore, babies or children or young children will have the difficulty to tear or to destroy the book, no matter how they try to pull pages from the book. So the text in the board books is short enough to accommodate short attention spans because board books are used to introduce to the child to concept like the text is short enough to accommodate short attention spans, and also board books also have bright colors and easy to read large text, which aims to help children follow along and keep engaged in their story. So board books are used to introduce to the children with the concept like colors, numbers, shapes, letters, animals, and so on. So board books can often have covered topics like science and history. So this kind of books tend to have a bright and vibrant illustration with minimal text, which is usually just a word, one or two on each page. So this helps children to learn and recognize basic words, especially when they are presented in a large text size. So the board books aim to keep children stimulated, helping them to recognize colors, shapes, and words on every page. So the reason why board books are book-friendly to children or the young children, because the content and the format of this book are suitable for children aged 0 to 2 years old. Aside from it, It also helps to build and develop children's motor skills, such as by, you know, children with this age tend to practice their motor skills, wherein they are holding things such as their toys, and it also includes the books. So next, let's proceed to the second book format, which is picture books. So picture books target readers is children aged 2 to 8 years old. So they primarily use illustrations to tell the story and often share lessons related to emotional intelligence, such as empathy, forgiveness, kindness, relationships, social connections, and morals. So the books must be fun and interesting because they help children learn not just to read but to navigate their world. So usually these picture books have 50 to 1,000 words. So images, pictures, we all know that images, pictures set an integral part on children's book because it improves and expand. It helps to improve and expand their imagination while reading a certain story. Also, picture books bring a massive benefits to children who are in the early stages of developing their reading skills. Furthermore, illustrations shown beside by text offer invaluable tools to help children build understanding, fluency, vocabulary, and other foundational literary skills. So the imagery in a picture book brings the pages to life, wherein serving as a visual roadmap for the story. So the visuals or the illustrations of picture books can be exciting, fun, and inspiring because they can tell a story and of their own and teach moral of the story. So most of the children tend to remember what happened throughout the story, or who are the characters in the story, or the events in the story, if there's included illustration, because it allows them to just reread or retell a story by looking the pictures in the books. Okay, next is the early readers. So the target readers are children age 5 to 8 years old. So early readers, also referred to as first readers, are stepping stones from picture books and reading scheme books to longer chapter books. So they're carefully developed to tell a great story, but in a format that children are able to read and enjoy by themselves using familiar vocabulary and appealing illustrations. So early reader books are called the first readers, or the emerging reader, or the beginning reader, because it made or designed to support newly independent readers. Those children who are learning to read on their own. Early readers books may compare to picture books when it's written for the younger ages, and it may also similar to a chapter books if it's written for the higher age. So basically, this early reader books contain characters, setting, themes, story which relevant to this age, which are 5 to 8 years old. So this kind of book includes short and uncomplicated storylines that are told with simple words, short sentences, and illustration, and also lots of action and dialogue. Dialogue are present to the book. Therefore, it can be more engaging and interesting to read for the young children. Okay, for the first one, we have the chapter books. So target readers, children age 7 to 9 years old. So they are this kind of books have 4,000 to 15,000 words in length. These books have more content and more complex language than the children may have seen before. Therefore, they are broken into chapters to help the readers better comprehend the material. So, chapter books tend to be written and read as a series since the text or the story is divided into chapters as the name the book implies. So one of the benefits of reading chapter books is that they ignite children's imaginations since these books made of more complex content and storyline, which is quite an advantage for children to stimulate their cognitive, social, and emotional skills, such as imagination, expand their understanding and their knowledge, and also to appreciate the world through reading. So next, these chapter books also expose children for new words and phrases which children can develop their language skills or their vocabulary. So also chapter books help to build a love of reading for the reason that children are allowed for imagining a story, a certain story on their own and able to plot them by themselves. So for the fifth one, we have the middle grade books. So the target readers is children age 8 to 12 years old. So middle grade books are for slightly older children, and they begin to venture into deeper themes and subject matter. The word count for the average middle grade novel ranges from 20,000 to 55,000 words. So most of the stories here in middle grade books are about the characters who face challenges and how they will overcome that particular conflict in the story. So readers 8 to 12 years old tend to put themselves in the story because they can imagine and understand, and also their comprehension their comprehension is getting deeper. So for instance, plot lines for middle grade books are sibling rivalry, having friends and becoming attracted to someone at their same age. And then often characters in the middle grade books, characters age in the story is similar or relevant to the age of the intended readers of the middle grade books, which are age 8 to 12 years old. Thus, also the themes and the subject matter are kind of relatable to their lives and at their age. So one of the example of middle grade books is this, what you can see on the screen, which entitled Wonderland. So it was written by the author of Wish. So this story is all about friends. So having friends. Next. This is the last book formats in children and young adults books. Now, okay. So young adult books, readers, target readers age to 12 to 18 years old and also to 16 to 25 years old. So young adult books can be nonfiction or fiction, educational and entertaining, and they must hold the attention of the target age group and speak to them emotionally and intellectually by being very relevant to their lives. Books in this genre are 40,000 to 80,000 words in length. So young adult books can be written in any genre such as historical, crime, romance, etc. So these books are much longer, edgier, and contain some violence, mature, or adult themes, in which suitable only for age 18 to 18 years old and above. So one of the example books of young adult is this, what you can see on the screen is The Hunger Games, which is written by Suzanne Collins. So I know that most of us are familiar and know this story because in fact this book has a movie adaptation wherein this story it revolves to the character of Katniss Everdeen, and Katniss Everdeen is from District 12, if I'm not mistaken. So Katniss is first to be a tribute to fight other youth. So Katniss is first selected to be the tribute of their district because of her hunting skills, right? So basically, this story is all about youth survival, fighting for their lives and their respective district reputation. So as you can see, the story is kind of sensitive for the young children. That's why it is only it's only for the young adult to read. So before I end up my discussion, I would like someone who I will call someone who will differentiate the book, the formats of children and young, the book formats of children from young adult books. So if you want to answer, you are free to raise your hand. If none, I will call someone. Just differentiate the children books to young adult books format. If none, may I call on Miss Kaizen? Kindly unmute your mic, please.
Yes, from board books.
Again?
From board books. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Number one is the board books. This is suitable for age 0 to 2 years old. And the number two is picture books, in which it uses illustration. This is suitable to 2 to 8 years old, and it contains 50 to 1,000 words. And the number three is the early readers. It is suitable for 5 to 8 years old, and they are also considered as first reader and emerging reader. And it contains of short and uncomplicated words. It uses simple words lang. While next is the chapter books. It contains of 7 to 9 years. It is suitable for 7 to 9 years old. It contains 4,000 and 15. 4,000 to 15,000 words in length, and It tend to written in series or by chapter. Yes, by chapter. Number 5 is the middle grade. It is suitable for 8 to 12 years old. Here, the character, in the story, the character faces challenges and how they will overcome it. And it contains of 20,000 to 55,000 words. And the last is the young adult. It is suitable for age 12 to 18 years old or 16 to 25 years old. Uh, it can be written in any genre. Yes, that's all.
Okay. Okay. Miss Catalan, do you have any? Kindly unmute your mic.
Hello, can you hear me as well?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So, since Miss Kaizen differentiate all of what you have discussed, I will just discuss the difference of young adult and the children's and the young I mean young adult book and children's book. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So in children's book, this is just based on my observation, no. I believe in children's book. The reason why they put ranges like 2 to 3, 4 to 5 is because the book should be focused on growth or the learning, depending on the age of the child. Since we have, children's level of development. Can you still hear me?
Yes, a bit
Yes.
Hello?
choppy na.
Okay, wait. Eto, okay na?
Yes po.
Yeah. So the difference is that in children's book, they tend to focus more depending on the level of learning or or the child's cognitive development. Why? Because in when we all know naman when we're reading we tend to acquire something. So that in children's book, um they are more focused on the introspection and the growth of the child. On the other hand, the young adult book, they it focuses more on the moral of the story, or um it is more more complicated than a children's book. I think that they would somehow increase the vocabulary in here. They would that syempre that the target age group here is around going to teens na, like 10 to 15. So as a result, they tend to focus more on hello.
Hello.
Hello, wala na ata ako. Hello? Ayun, basta.
Po, naririnig
So,
pa
naririnig. Ayan, thank you, thank you. So, ayun po, yun lang naman yung I think the huge difference between the two. Yes. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Miss Catalan, for sharing your insight or your understanding about this lesson. So for the last one, I will call Mr. Charles. Go on. Kindly unmute your mic.
So I would agree with with what Miss Catalan stated a while ago, that when it comes to children's books, there are a lot of imagery, there are a lot of images, or let's say illustrated books, and this is for the children to be able to assimilate something from those books. Unlike for the young adult, um here dito na kasi papasok yung non-fiction and fiction. Unlike children's books, most of the time it is about fiction, because this is where the part of a child this is where a part of a child's life is that we really need to trigger the the imagination of the children. Unlike for the young adult, this is where you can see nonfiction or fiction depicting social issues, depicting reality in life. And this is I think this is where you know the reality of life kicks in, because this kind of books really teach us something about life, about surviving, about living. And this is not the children's books that we used to read, that it will somehow agree with what you're thinking. But in young adults books, sometimes we encounter tragedy, um a death of a character. And I think young adult is more based on life's reality than the literature that we used to read when we are children. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Gohar. So for me, so the difference between the children book formats from young adult books. I saw first of all that children and young adult books are both fun and engaging to read. So the only different in terms of the content and complexity, because in children's books, it's mainly designed with just simple words, basic words and phrases. And also um it um it also includes illustrations to add color in the book. Because so why, just like what Miss Catalan and Mr. Gohar said, that so in children books, it only includes there that how much the only information that they could acquire, which are the basic information such as colors, animals, letters, and so on. So, and while in young adult books, it contain complex storylines, themes, and languages. So in young adult, most of the stories are sensitive to read, and can it's all about the reality of world. So age of this um that's why age of this young adult can only can um have the understanding in reality. So, if nonetheless, despite the distinction between the children and young adult book formats, book are still can give us pleasure and enjoyment to explore and also allows us to explore the world and the reality through reading. And also here in books, we can learn new things, and it which help us to deepen our imagination, understanding, and appreciation about the reality of world. So all in all, I must say that books can be the foundation of our knowledge and experience that we can apply in our lives. So that will be all on my part. So I hope you got something from the discussions. So let me call on Ms. Chesta Faner to continue the discussion about literary elements. So thank you everyone for listening.
Good day, everyone. Naririnig po?
Yes po.
Nakikita po ba yung mukha ko or naka-ba camera?
Nakita mukha mo.
Ay. Okay. So, good day, everyone. I am Jessa Paner, and now I will discuss the literary elements. In literary elements, every story that has ever been or will ever be is built on literary aspects, such as character, settings, conflict, and other elements that frequent in literature. Next slide po. So first, we have plot. So in the plot, it is the work is the series of events that lead the protagonist on a journey. It is either a journey through one location to another, or it is the journey that teaches them about the history of something, or teaches them about something themselves. So there we have what we call plot diagram. Next slide po. So in plot diagram, as you can see, we have exposition. So in this part, it is usually near the beginning, in which the character are introduced, the background explained, and the settings described. There in exposition, the protagonist's life is altered by this incident, which leads them down to different route that they had previously taken. So every story will begin with this important plot development, which is crucial for capturing readers' attention. So in exposition, it is usually seen in the introduction part of the story. Next is rising action. It is the central part of a story during which various problems arise after a conflict is introduced. So here in rising action, a problem of the story is already showed up. So next is climax. So in climax, the most exciting point in the story, it is also where the conflict is decided. And at this point, we've watched the main character confront the action or conflict, and now something major has come to a head. And in climax, we can also see the confrontation between the main characters, the protagonist and antagonist, and it is either through defeat or through greatest victory. And also in climax, the summation of everything the character have learned throughout the increasing action is also seen. Next is falling action. So in falling action, it is which leads the reader to the story's end. The conflict is near to be resolved, and the solution of the conflict of the story is already shown. Last is resolution. The conflict is resolved, it is either positive or negative, and the story is brought to a close. It is also known as denouement. So in every story, it is important to conclude with a solid resolution for the readers to feel satisfied at the ending. Sometimes the denouement, sometimes here in denouement, we learn of the final outcomes of the tale. So in short story, it is particular or needed to be um, they need to be a defining ending. While in books, it is somewhat okay for the books to be an open ended. But you must bring the story to a close with either a tragic or a happy ending. That's what I say earlier. It is positive or negative. So it is either in positive or negative way, because not all readers are want the story to end in happy ending. It is also resolves all unresolved issues and provides all necessary resolutions. The reader will finish the book feeling satisfied if the denouement was well crafted, because it can give satisfaction to the readers to dissipate confusion about the flow of the story. Next slide po. So here in next slide, we have a main characters, and we have two different kind of characters, which are protagonist and antagonist. So we all know that the protagonist is the main character of the story. It is often a hero or the character the audience is supposed supposed to feel most sympathetic for the protagonist of the novel. It serves as but it is not always the case. It is not always the protagonist is not always a hero, because it means that if they are a protagonist, they always be an upstanding moral citizen. But it does mean that that their actions and moral and motivations are what drives the story forward. They are also the lens through which the reader sees the story unfold. So they are the main character, so they acted most part of the story. And through this character, your reader goes on a trip and picks up the insightful lesson presented in your themes. While the antagonist is the obstacle of the protagonist's objective. It is also called as adversary. So these two main characters have competing interests, and the friction resulting from their difference is what drives the plot development. So sometimes the adversary will be a villain intent on destroying the world, and other times it will be a regular person who just has a different perspective on things than the protagonist. Next slide po. So conflict. Conflict in a story is a struggle between opposing forces. So character must act to confront those forces, and there is where conflict is born. If there is nothing to be overcome, there is no story. So conflict is essential to a story. And so for the story will not be boring, it can give moral to the people. Also, conflict in a story creates and drives the plot forward. And a good story must include conflict, but conflict need not just put the hero against the bad guy. So that's the reason why we have two different kinds of conflict, which is internal conflict and external conflict. So in internal conflict, it is a struggle between a character and him or herself. It is the battle between the heart and mind of a character in making a decision. While the external conflict, it is the struggle between character and an outside force. We also have different kind of conflict, which are man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus society. So in man versus man, this kind of confrontation pits one person against another, typically the protagonist versus antagonist, and observe how their conflicting demands are met. Next is man versus nature. In Man versus Nature, the protagonist is pitted against the impersonal force of nature, such as animal, a natural disaster, or a disease. While last is a Man versus Society, it is the protagonist or the character is pitted against the larger world in this kind of conflict. This tension is frequently the focal point of narratives that tackle unpleasant subjects like racism, homophobia, and class divisions. Next slide po. So here is about suspense. This suspense can give anxiety and excitement to the reader's feelings about what will happen next in the story. So we have different kind of conflicts, I suspense, which are foreshadowing, dilemma, mystery, and reversal. First, in foreshadowing, it is giving clues. It is either real or false that hint at a story's outcome. It is a suspense because you didn't know whether the clues that you've seen in a previous chapter of the story were real or false until you found out in the ending of the story. Next is dilemma. In dilemma, a character that we care about is in a must choose between the dangerous courses of action. Next is mystery. So in mystery, the creation of suspense by withholding information or by presenting unusual circumstances. It is either happened to the protagonist or the antagonist. Next is reversal. Reversal is a sudden change in character situation from good to bad or vice versa. Next slide po. Characterization. It is the technique used by a writer to create and reveal the personalities of the character that he or she used in a story. We have two different kinds of characterization, which are direct characterization and indirect characterization. So in direct characterization, the author directly states aspect of the character's personality. While in indirect characterization, the more common method for most characters, especially major characters, the author must infer personal traits from the story. It is maybe accomplished by describing the character's physical appearance and situation and revealing the thoughts of a character. Uh, we also have the different types of character, which are flat character, round character, static character, dynamic character, and dynamic character. So first is the flat character. It is the character who shows only one trait. While the round character, it is the character who shows many different traits. It is either good or bad traits. Good and bad traits. While in static character, the character does not change throughout the course of the story. If the character is good from the start, the character will end with a good moral, with a good character image. Next is last is dynamic character. So in dynamic character, the character develops and grows during the course of the story. The character will shown up maybe might be at the center or at the end of the story. Next slide po. Next po. So here, next slide, settings. So in settings, it is the time and place which the action of the narrative occurs. A setting is a time and place articulated to us or discreetly suggested to us. It can be suggested by weather, clothing, culture, buildings, and etc. So the story setting determines where, when, and sometimes how it happens. It is also involves how your character interacts with the environment. Next. Next is theme. So in theme, this is the theme is different from the subject. In that subject, it is involved in a statement or opinion about the story. So the theme is maybe stated or implied. All works of art have themes, whether or not they were there on purpose. The creators' intend message for their works can be summed up as the theme. Next slide. Point of view. Okay. Here in point of view, it is the relationship between the narrator of a story and the character it is. In it, the narrator is not the same as the author. So we have different kind of point of view, which are first person, third, omniscient, limited omniscient, and objective. The first person narratives are written from the perspective of the characters as if they were addressing the readers directly. So it is like the readers are the main character in the story. Also, the first person is a subjective point of view immerses the reader in the character's head and conveys all of their thoughts and emotion. Next is the third person. The narrator is outside the action. It is non-participatory and present. So the most traditional, it is also the most traditional viewpoints in literature, and they utilize he, she, or they to follow the character's journey. Next is omniscient. And omniscient is also known as all-knowing point of view. The readers can see the thoughts and emotion of all the characters, not only one characters like in the first person, but here in omniscient, all the thoughts and emotions of the characters can see or feel by the readers. Next is limited omniscient. It is focused on one character's thoughts and viewpoints. While in objective, it describes only what can be seen, and it is like a reporter style. So the author can tell the story about the character by like a reporter style. Next slide. Next slide po. Ayan. So next is irony. In irony, it is differences in appearance and reality, expectation and results, or meaning and intention. So we have different kinds of irony, which are dramatic irony, situational irony, and verbal irony. So in dramatic irony, it is a contradiction between what a character think and what the reader or audience knows to be true. While while in situational irony, an event occurs that directly contradicts the expectation of the characters, readers, or audience. While in verbal irony, it is the used to suggest the words are used to suggest the opposite of what is meant. Example in verbal irony is sarcasm. So that is the end of my report. And before I end it, I ended it my report. I want to ask any one of you for you what is the ano ba yun? What is the importance of every literary elements in every literature? You can raise your hand po if you want to answer. Wala. So I will call na lang po. Nezel, can I call Nezel po? Oh, hello, naririnig pa po ba?
Yes po. Naririnig niyo po ba?
Yes po.
Gulat ako. So, I think the importance of the literary elements when it comes to every literature is we can distinguish the elements by knowing the characters, the climax, the rising action, for us to understand clearly what is the literature is the content, or should I say the content of literature. We can distinguish and we can understand it very clearly po. That's all. Thank you po.
Okay. And for me, before I end this, for me, the importance of every literary elements in literature is for us to see or for us to know what it is all about, and for us to have an imagination about through one story or one literary elements. So that's all. Thank you. I hope you have gained some knowledge about the literary elements. And may I call on Miss Janet Parilla?
So hi everyone, good morning. Can you still hear me?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay, buti naman gising tayo. Okay, so good morning. So my report is all about book awards. So we are done talking about the book formats and literary awards. And now we're going to talk about the book awards. So in addition to being a lovely honor for an author and publisher, book awards can help promote books increase sales and attract new readers for both conventionally and independently published works. I know that there are many books awards internationally and locally that authors and publisher are receiving. However, since we only have short time, I just collected 10 book awards. So I hope that all of you guys will participate like later when I ask some questions, and we're going to tally or to count your scores. Who knows, maybe our group is that generous to, give you some Gcash prizes. All right, so please, next slide. All right, thank you. So our first book award is the National Book Award. So what is National Book Award? The National Book Foundation brings together 25 distinguished judges each year to recognize the best works of American literature in their opinion. Each category's winner will take home $10,000 in cash along with other 5 finalists from each category. So who can win? This is US authors who have been nominated by their publishing house, and when the authors can submit their piece. So from March 1st to May 20 May 15. Sino ba? Okay, so as you can see here in the right side of the slide, we have here the example. The winner of the National Book Awards of 2021 for fiction is the book of Mr. Jason Mott entitled The Hell of a Book. So as much as I wanted to give a short description or short review about the examples book, in the following slides, again, due to my short time and issue in my internet connectivity, I wasn't able to make those reviews. But you can look it on Google Library, ebooks websites, and I think also you can look it at goodreads.com. So next award, next slide, please. So our next award is the Eric Hoffer book. With permission from the Eric Hoffer Estate, the Eric Hoffer Book Award has recognized independent publications for nearly 20 years in honor of its namesake. It offers awards for journalistic distinction, category-based distinctions, and other specialty awards, as well as a grand prize of $2,500 to one winner each year. So our winner for this book award is Miss Lawrence or Mr. Lawrence Gonzalez with his book entitled Deep Survival: Who Lives, Who Dies, and Why. So how an author can win in this book award? They're going to submit their piece in the deadline of January 21, 2023, I think. And who can win in this book award? The self-published authors, academic presses, small or micro presses. Okay, next. I hope you're taking down notes the book awards, okay guys? So next is the Ruby Book Prize. So one grand book of the year prize worth €1,500 and including publishing consideration from a prestigious London literary agency is offered by the International Ruby Book Prize. Finalists receive small awards as well. So in this award, who can win? Of course, the self-published authors and independent presses. So when they can submit their work. So this is annually. For this year, the deadline of this book award is on March 31, 2023. So as of 2019, the winner of this book award is Miss Isabel Sun Chow and Claire Chow in their book Remembering Shanghai, a memoir of society socialites scholars and scoundrels won the Rubery Book. Yeah, they won the Rubery Book Prize in 2019. So our next book award is for the fan of science fiction, which is the Hugo Award. Yes. So a literary award presented annually for work from the previous year. This is the major fantasy and science fiction award. Nominated pieces are to be published in or translated into English. So who can win in this again in this award? Self-published authors, traditionally published authors, artists, publications, editors, and more, as long as they are creating work in science fiction or fantasy genre, but they cannot submit their own book. So in order for them to earn or to have this book award, one of the members of World Science Fiction Society must nominate their book for consideration. So, um, unlike the other book awards in the first slides, here in this book award, the authors itself cannot submit his or her book or piece. And according to HugoAwards.com, the voting for 2022 Hugo Awards are already closed last August 11, 2022, and the winner of each category was announced last September 4, 2022. So one of the winners of this award is the book of, as you can see there, you can use the picture there as your reference. The book of Network Effect, a murder bot novel by Martha Wells. For the next award is this is for the last part for this first part, the Woman Prize for Fiction. So what is all about? One of the most esteemed literary awards in the UK is this one. It is given to female author for a piece of English language literature that was released in the UK. It is an annual event honoring the contributions made by women in the industry. So who can win? Of course, obviously, the women authors. So publishing houses must submit books for consideration. So when they can submit, so according to Women's Prize for Fiction.uk, submissions for 2023 Discoveries program are now open. So the example of this, the winner of in this Women's Prize for Fiction last 2018 is this one. It is the book of Miss Amy McBride entitled "A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing." So before we talk about the next part, may I can we have a volunteer to give me at least 3 books award that I have discussed a while ago? So please, that this is a recorded recitation and yes, Miss Balago. You can unmute your microphone now.
Okay, so I have jotted notes at least 5 of the books, but I will share the first, second, and third book award that you have mentioned. First is National Book Award, and it has the winner is Hell of a Love, but I forgot to notate the author. And the deadline of this is from March 1 to May 15 with a cash prize of $10. Second book award is Eric Hoffer Book Award. And the winner is Deep with the book entitled Deep Survival by Lawrence Gonzalez with a cash prize of $2,500. And the third one is Rubery Book Prize. It has a cash prize of $1,500. And the winner is Remembering Shanghai by Isabel Sanchow and Claire Sanchow. And then the deadline for this one is March 21st, 2023.
All right. I think you really, listen to my part. Thank you so much for that. And please note that this is a recorded recitation. Good job, good job. I really like how you jot down the the deadlines and the prices as well. Thank you. Now let's move on to the next part. All right. So of course, if we have the Women's Prize award, also we have also a book award for the members of LGBTQ community. This award is entitled Lambda or Literary Award. So who can win in this award? Self-published authors and traditionally published authors. Note that only books in print format may be considered. And when they can submit. According to Lambda Literary.org, the submission for 2023 Lammy Awards will be open they just opened September 1, 2022 until November 18, 2022. So one of these book award is Carmen Maria Machado with her book entitled Her Body and Other Parties. Okay, so our next book award is for Pips who is on, political writing. Next slide, please. So this award is called Orwell Prize. So this award named after the celebrated author of 1984, George Orwell. It is given annually by the Orwell Foundation to recognize outstanding literary and non-literary works that transform political writing into an art and is only in its second year. So 2 years pa lang silang nagbibigay ng ganitong award. So, who can win in this award? So, books must be submitted by their publishing house, and the book must have been first published or published simultaneously in the UK. So, when they can submit, so the Orwell Foundation already announced their winners, and one of its winners is our example here. I'm able to get the cover in the Google. So it is the book by Sally Hayden entitled My Fourth Time We Drown. Next award, please. So here, our young adult prize is called Young Adult, the Michael L. Prince Award. So, the Prince Award is given yearly by the Young Adult Library Services Association to the greatest book written for teens based exclusively on its literary value. The award bears the name of school librarian who was a prominent YALSA member. The ALA newspaper book list sponsors this prize. So who can win on this award? So only authors of YA literature or young adult literature. Note that authors, publishers, editors, and agents may not nominate their own titles. It is like, they can join this book award, but then they cannot pass it on their own. This is the time where they have to ask for their friends to nominate their piece. And if they pass the quota of the nominates, the nominates, then that's the time that their piece can join this book award. So when they can submit, so submissions be sent throughout the year with a deadline of December 1, and winners are mostly selected in January. So one of the winners of in this category is the book of Angeline Boley entitled Firekeeper's Daughter. I think this is the recent winner of this award. Okay, so I just want to share that the last two categories are my favorites. So now we're going to talk about the next award, which is the crime writing, the Doggers. So the Doggers, appropriately named for their genre, are yearly honors presented by the Crime Writers Association for Excellence in Crime Fiction and Nonfiction. Each year, attendees include representatives of the literary world such as authors, agents, editors, and others. So, who can win on this award? So, publishing houses must submit books for consideration. So, um they can also submit their piece. The Dagger Award opens at November 1, which is tomorrow, November 1, 2022, and it closes the entries closes at February 23, 2023. So there no, the 2018 winner of crime writing, the Daggers Award, is the book of Steve Kavanagh, entitled The Liar. All right. So for my last part, this is the Horror Bram Stoker Award. So the Bram Stoker Award is given by the Horror Writers Association for exceptional achievement in writing dark fantasy and horror in a variety or of categories including young adult, first novels, anthologies, and more. Books may be submitted by authors and publishers or HWA, members may propose books for consideration. So, who can win on this award? Both self-published and traditional published authors writing in the horror genre. So, as long as they're writing books or pieces with the genre of horror, then they can submit their piece. So, when they can submit their piece, so every year their deadline is November 30th. So yes. So the winner of this award is last 2019 is Miss Elizabeth Frankenstein, Miss Kristen White with the with her book The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. So that's all for my report. Do you have any questions, clarifications? Not just in my report but in my co-reporters. There's none. Okay. So
Hello?
okay. Yes, hello.
Hello, I just want to ask, what's HWA members and the Bram Stoker Award?
So the HWA members are the Horror Writers Association here in the slide. So the Bram Stoker Award, it is like the Bram Stoker, he's the author, or he's the, what do you call this? The one that organized this award. Did I answer your question, Miss Aliyah?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm passing my microphone to Miss Jana. That's all for my report. Thank you, everyone.
So I think this is the end of our discussion. If there's no questions or clarification. Oh, so I think this question is for Miss Janet. I think Ati Davi has questions about, do you have example for literature Hindi here in the Philippines? Miss Janet.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm so sorry, Ate Dabi, but I forgot to add it here. But yes, we have the awards for Philippine Literary. Yes, and it is the Palangka Awards, the Peters Prize, and the Philippine National Books Awards. I'm so sorry, I forgot to add it here, but there. Did I answer your question, Ate Debbie? Miss Davy. All right. Thank you so much.
I think that's a wrap. Thank you everyone for participating on this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.